Boys, lads, mandem, girls, everyone, I'm back. No need to worry. In today's video, I'm talking about future stars of Australian football. Before you're thinking, why? Why are you talking about that? We've got no future stars. Well, that's the exact reason. I was at a pub recently having a chat with some English guys. They were like, oh, you guys, it was a fluke that you guys make it to the knockout rounds, rah, rah, rah. And they were saying they got nothing coming up. Your players are washed. And I was like, we got players pulling up. And then I realized, no one's talking about our younger stars. So I'm here, talking about our young ballers. Don't worry, I'm not going to mention the obvious Volpato, Asanjo Castretti, Irukunda, and all that. Don't worry. Irakunda's getting his own ep, by the way. It's coming soon, so watch out. Today I'll be mentioning young bowlers to keep your eye out on. Also, before I start getting into this, I've actually made a whole list of young bowlers. Obviously, I can't put them all in one video, so if you want to hear more, it's alright, I got you. There's more coming up. In today's one, I'll talk about 3 guys who've just broken into the international scene and 3 underrated bowlers that you've probably never heard of that you should definitely be hearing about. And the 3 guys who break into the international scene, and by far the most exciting and probably the most talented of them all really are 19-year-old Alexander Robinson. Before you're thinking, wait, I think I've heard of him. Yes, he's that Man City bowler. He's recently just declared for Australia after a huge international tug-of-war. He was born in Dundee, Scotland, whilst his father was playing for them, and moved back to Australia at a young age of 4, and then moved to England when he signed for Manchester United, and became eligible for England whilst being there. And oh yeah, just to throw a hat in the mix, his mother's Peruvian, so he could have played for Peru as well. It also makes me happy as an Australian that it's another dub we got over Peru. After beating them in the World Cup, you know, the whole Andrew Redmayne situation. After switching back and forth from England's young youth setup and Australia's youth setup, he decided to choose the nation of both his father and his grandfather both played for. Yes, he comes from a long line of international ballers. So if anything, he was destined to play for Australia. It'd be rude not to, you know? And no, before I didn't start out or mix it up, I did say he played for Manchester United. And I did say he played for Manchester City. So yes, when he was 15 years old, he left Manchester United to go to Man City and then quickly rose through the ranks, establishing himself as one of the top prospects in Man City. Now he's out there training, rubbing shoulders with Haaland, KDB, you know, all the Man City ballers. He's in that first team. Yes, he hasn't played or been on the bench, but man's there training with him. So if Pep thinks good enough, bro, there's a reason why he's in the Australian squad. About to make his debut. Honestly, I'm very excited to see where his future lies. We haven't had a top bowler since the Mark Viduka, Harry Kewell era. The second youngster hoping to make their debut for Australia is Joe Geiki. Sorry, I don't really know how to pronounce your name, so don't get mad if you see this video. In 2018, he joined Central Coast Mariners from NPL side from West Torrens Bacala before having a quick loan to Adelaide City. After the loan season, he went and signed for Melbourne City as a backup keeper for $25k, but that didn't last long at all, as after 1 year he returned back to Adelaide United, burst into the scene, went straight in the first team, hasn't looked back since. At the time of recording, he's made 51 appearances and currently have the best season of his life, with his team now comfortably second on the ladder, pushing Man City for the title. However, he's unlikely to make his debut in this international break due to him being the third keeper, but he's only 22 and he's already called the eye of the national team. I can see very soon he's going to be too good for the A-League, he's going to be out in Europe, he's going to have an exciting career. I want to see what this guy can achieve. The third youngster called up to the Australian squad looking to make their debut as well is Jordan Bosch. I'm looking forward to see what Jordan Bosch has because he's came out of nowhere this season. He's natural, he's physical, he's technical. You can tell on the field he possesses a lot of confidence. And I can believe he can make it to a whole new level and feature for the next World Cup. As we don't have much upcoming competition for his position, and he's already starting in the A-League day in, day out at such a young age of 20. Beautiful product of the Melbourne City Academy. He made his debut in the 21-22 season. However, this year is his breakout. As I mentioned before, he's a staple for the first team. He's untouchable. He's got that position locked down. And potentially, I reckon he's probably the best left back in the whole of A-League, just full stop right now. And he's always putting solid performances for the high-flying Melbourne City team. He can even walk away with his first title as well. I hope he stays in the A-League, but someone that good, someone that young, he's destined to Europe. There's actually a 4th guy who came on as a train-on, Irukunda. Yes, I know I said I wouldn't talk about him, but it just came out that Riley McGree got injured and got flying back home, and now he's in the squad. Yes, he might make his debut, but he'd also potentially become the youngest player for Australia ever. And that's huge. He deserves it. I honestly believe he deserves it. He's been scoring goals like crazy. Like, he deserves it. But stay tuned for a future video, which I'll talk all about him. So that's enough for him. Now time for the underrated ballers that you probably wouldn't have heard of. which you definitely should be listening about. First is the underrated talent, 21-year-old Noah Botic. He's a Sydney-born striker. He has played for multiple NPL sides in his youth, which has also led him to get in trials for big European clubs such as Manchester United, Everton, Bayern Munich. However, ended up signing a 2-year deal for Hoffenheim in Germany. After failing making an appearance for the senior team and only making 9 under-19 caps for them, he was released, but wasn't released for long. Western United came calling for him. Former under-17 Australian captain has played a vital rotation player this season, making 19 appearances off the bench, scoring 5 goals this season as West United battle for finals position. His manager and Socceroos great, John Aloisi, believes that he's quickly garnered the physical and technical aspects to dominate this level, and he also believes that he now understands what it takes to be professional level at this level, as he has a beautiful eye for the goal. And who else would rather mentor him than one of Australia's best strikers ever? One of his previous managers has also gone out and said that he's the next Viduka. So your manager is the best striker ever. Your previous manager says could be as good as Viduka. We got a striker on our hands. From a former under-17 Australian captain to the current under-17 Australian captain, we've got Anthony Pavlecic. Having only just turned 17 recently, Pavlecic is the third in the pecking order for Central Coast Mariners, whom he only just joined 6 months ago, and is already standing at a commanding 190 centimeters. He's that fresh into the football scene. He doesn't even have a Wikipedia page. But don't let that deter you. He's a baller. He's a great keeper. He's already gained major interest from big European sides. I'm talking Bundesliga's champions Bayern Munich, Bayern Leverkusen, even Dutch giants Ajax. And only being a professional for such a short time, having all those interests, that's got to say something. Brad Maloney is the current under-17 Australian manager, and he says this about him: "This is deserved acknowledgement for Anthony, who reminds me a lot of Matt Ryan in the way he goes about his business. He leads by example both on and off the pitch, and during our pre-tournament camp in Melbourne, he set the standard for others to follow in terms of attitude and aptitude." So if that doesn't tell you, he's very headstrong, he's got leadership abilities, which means he's going to be focused on the game. You need the mental game just as much as you need talent, even more sometimes. And now the Erekunda before Erekunda. Yes, I know, it's the third time mentioning him after saying I won't mention him, but allow it, yeah? We're talking Mohamed Toure. And if you don't remember him, the 18-year-old is probably the best young exciting prospect to come out of the A-League since Garen Qual. Toure became the youngest ever goal scorer in A-League history at the young age of 15 years old and 326 days, scoring for Adelaide United in the 84th minute against Central Coast Mariners in a 2-0 win. But that didn't end there. He continued to score goals, massing 42 games and 7 goals in total. And while Mohamed Toure is currently playing the 4th tier of French football, which happens to be the Rennes reserve side, if you know about French football, the second division side can also play in the football tier, just they can't play in the same league as the original team. His performance have shown he's way too strong, way too good for the league, and has already caught eye of the hierarchy, and now is currently training in the first team, just like how Alex Robertson is. He's currently undeclared for any country yet. However, both his brothers have declared for Australia, as they have both played for the Australian youth teams. So hopefully Mohamed Toure decides to represent Australia just like his brothers and receives a call up. And more importantly, even if that doesn't happen, I just hope he realizes his potential, realizes his potential and dominates the scene. That's all I want from him. That's it for today's video, guys. Hope you enjoyed that list of players. Like I said, I've got a lot more players. So if you want more of the young players coming up, comment down below. And make sure you check my gaming channel too. Hope you guys like, comment, subscribe, and see you next time.